Hey, hopefully I'm streaming. I'm not seeing it yet. Okay. Here we go. All right. We are becoming live. Hopefully my internet connection is okay today. As a lot of you know, I've been moving around visiting my family members, and I am streaming from my aunt's attic. So if you're tuning in from my newsletter, be sure to say hey. And hang on just a second here. Let me know how the stream's going. I don't know if it's okay. If you guys can see me, if it's glitchy. Hey Linda, good morning. Hopefully, is the stream doing okay? Because it was, it's not looking so great on my end. I'm trying to watch my own stream here. But if it's bad, let me know, but hopefully it's okay. So like we are doing something a little bit different, and the color update of the brushes, the stream is a bit glitchy. Okay. How is the sound? Is the sound okay? Boo. Tomato, tomato. David, thank you for the... Okay, you got the update on the brushes. Let me know. I don't know if you can see this, David, but can you let me know how the sound is? Hey, Gabriella, I'm super happy to see you. Okay, the sound is fine. Well, hopefully it will smooth out. I'm just gonna wait just a second. Start and stop. Eek. Boo. Okay. I don't know if I should try to reconnect, or if you think that do you guys think that it's good enough to follow, or should I maybe turn it off and turn it back on? Let me know, because I would like to get going. Maybe I'm just going to try for like a few minutes, but I'm really excited about this stream today. And let's see, I have my own thing on silent, so I can't really see if it's working 100%. But what I was going to do today is sample colors from, and I have a new color palette, which I need to update. I'll put this for all the subscribers, but I really actually love this color palette. What we were doing is I'm sampling color palettes from this image, accenting a club flyer, and then using the same brushes, the GlitchCore brushes in the color palettes to create an illustration. So yeah, so hopefully we can go with it. But I'm just gonna yeah, I'm not seeing so many comments, so I'm just wanting to make sure that my feed is okay before I really get into it. Hopefully. Okay. Well, and and if it's I'm recording this, so if it's really bad or whatever, what I'll do is I'll just re-upload the thing. So if you guys can't bother to see it, or if it's too glitchy, I'll just I'll repost it. Okay, Von Wonder, sounds great. Little glitchy like yesterday's video. Okay. Hopefully it'll smooth out. So I'm yesterday's was a little bit meandering. So okay, good. Showing fine now. Fabulous. So what I want to do is kind of keep it straight into the point, and so that way we can see how easy this is. And what I want to do is like show you guys how you can use these two totally different ways. Okay, it's no worse than yesterday. Go for it. Okay. Oh, bless. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we'll just kind of go through this really fast, but I wanted to show that you can use these things for not just like cutesy illustrations or flowers or whatever, but that you can use them to enhance your designs. So what I did was I was like, oh, since these are so technical, like since these are so like tech inspired, whatever, you know, the GlitchCore brushes, that I wanted to really embrace that. So I thought I would do like a nightclub flyer or something like that, you know, DJ, whatever, like you see on all the template sites or whatever, but not really my style. But, and I don't do a lot of design. I do more illustration now, but I thought I would just show how you know, it's very versatile. So you can actually use the brushes to like enhance your design. So what I did was I wanted to make a new color palette that was inspired by the image. So what I did was I went to let me turn off these things. Maybe this will help. Maybe it's my own internet here. So, okay. So yeah, last you were streaming at a time when you can watch. Hey, Maurelius. Oh my gosh, your design that you posted on the Facebook group was amazing. Oh my gosh, she makes the most amazing designs. Super talent. Okay, so I think we're going here. Yeah. All right, so perfect. So I went to Unsplash and I got this image. I just typed in like DJ, club, whatever. And what I noticed about this was that I really liked the colors. So I look in here and I see the reds, I see the blues, I see the purples. So I thought it would be like really cool. And so I just downloaded that. So I've got my thing here. I've got my photograph and I liked the colors as they were. So I didn't do anything. All I did was I decreased the size because I don't want it to be too big when I sample and I make my color palettes. So what I did was I just went in here and found little areas that I liked so that I can make my own color palettes from this. So I'm sampling directly from the image. Most of you guys who use my color blending brushes know that this technique, but if this technique is new to you, in down below there's a link for the impressionist color blending technique. There's a blog post. I show you everything. But let's just get to it. So what I do is, let me just grab my, oh wait, no. Okay, so I just found areas like this and I found, you know, just a color range that I liked. And then I went edit, define pattern, and I'm just going to type this test, but normally I don't even name them. So I went through and just captured little areas like this around my image to make my color palette. So I kind of looked like this. Okay, I like these like, you know, this red to the purple, and always I go edit, define pattern. But I have a keyboard shortcut, so I hit Command M because I do this all the time. So I had assigned like keyboard shortcuts to this. So once I do that, then if I look up here in my patterns, I'm just going to grab my pattern stamp tool. Okay, so here we see like ones that I just did. So these are some, you know, are these the big ones? Okay, these are a large thumbnail. So you can see that I sampled areas around this image and created my own color palettes for it. But I'm not gonna paint directly using the ones. I'm actually gonna add an extra step because the thing is I sample from these color palettes, and sometimes you've got all the colors and these brushes are gonna spit out the colors. But especially with these GlitchCore brushes, they're sometimes going to not disperse the colors as much. So I actually like to remix the colors a little bit and make my own color palettes. So here you can see all of the different areas around the, what do you call it, the picture that I turned into my color palettes by making them a pattern, because of course we're using the pattern stamp color blending method. And let's see here. Let me see if they're any bigger over here. Pretty the same actually size. So let's just look at them here. So here I've got all those areas that I've selected. But what I've done is I've actually made my own personal color palette blend with each of these pictures. And that way I can make sure that I disperse the color better. And I'm going to show you what I mean real quick. Hold on one second. Okay, just checking the thing. All right, so this is just a tip for a lot of you guys that use this technique anyway, and this can help you whether it's GlitchCore brushes or other brushes. So I'm just going to go to, let's see here, what did I do? Okay, here. So here, for example, what did I grab? Okay, so here's a brush 58. And I'm just going to show you a side-by-side here. So for the first brush stroke with brush 58, I grabbed the color palette that I sampled directly from the image, and I sampled this neck area. So we've got these cool blue, we've got the red on the neck, whatever. But if I draw the brush stroke directly from that, we're gonna like possibly get these like a little more banding, although in these brushes we are embracing the banding because that's like a lot of the glitch sort of effect. But you might get kind of blocks of color. And so what I did was I created my own palettes, like I have shown you before how to do, directly from that. And that way it will distribute the color just a little bit better. Let me just check my comments really quick to see if I have any questions or everything's okay. All right, so everything still looks live. And yeah, so I'm just going to, this is brush 58, and I'm just going to redo this here to show you. So I took that color that I just sampled from the neck, and I just go like this, and it just depends. Every stroke is going to be different, but you might have like more of those blocks of color. So if I take the color palette that I remixed and do it, then it kind of it can disperse the color a little bit better. So that's a tip. And this can help you for your other color blending palettes or when you're making your own palettes. So here you can see like the image that I sampled and the color palette that I made. You can see everything side by side. And so just to show you really quick how I did that, is I'm going to my color palette makers, and these are available for free. It's on my blog post. So I'm just gonna grab my pattern stamp tool, grab my color palette maker, and let's just get one of the images that I sampled. So here is the neck. All right, so I've got this neck area that I've sampled, and now I'm gonna go to my color palette document. So I've made a document. Let's here. Let me hide these layers. Okay, so this is, you know, a lot of you guys might be familiar with this, but I'll go through it really like a little bit fast. So we've got a little document that's like 250 by 250. And I've got, of course, my pattern stamp tool, impression is checked, that little area from the neck that I've sampled, the photo color palette. And then I'll grab one of my color palette maker brushes with the color jitter of 0, and I'm gonna go through here and just keep drawing brush strokes. But if I create one brush stroke like without picking up my thing, it's gonna still have those like blocky areas. So what I'm gonna do is make separate brush strokes, and that way I can distribute those colors around better and have things just a little bit more well distributed. Hey Patrick, oh my god, so glad that you like the brushes. So glad to have you here. Glad to see all my friendly faces. So that's how I do a lot of the times when I make these color palettes for you. A lot of times I'll sample the colors from the images, but I will remix them like this because I want to distribute the colors around there better. Because if you do have those blocks of color, even though we're having the specially designed color blending brushes, sometimes you could get brushes, blocks of color like that. So that's what I did to do that. And oh good, I'm glad, David, that you like this. And yeah, this can be something good. And, you know, because sometimes you're like, oh, well, I can, you know, create my palette directly from an image. I don't need to remix it. And sometimes you don't. But then sometimes if you get those big blocks of color coming out, this can really help you. And this is the reason why I do that. So glad that you like that tip. And I'm going to show you another reason why I do that. Oh, and George, hello from South Africa. Yay. And so one other thing reason why I did this is at the end, I made 3 of my own color blends from the color palettes that I had. So like, say for example, this last one here, I'm going to just turn this back on. So this one I made by creating combining 3 different color palettes that I just made. So what I did was I took, like, say for example, this one here, or no, this here that's got a lot of purple in it and red. Okay, so basically what I did was I just filled this this box up here. I'm going to turn that off so we see. So I did that, you know, filled it up with that single color palette that I just made. And then maybe I want to add in some blue of the blue color blend. So I can just drop in a couple drops of, or a couple taps of blue from that color palette. And then I could add like some of the dark blue here. So then I could go and add a few, you know, touches of that. And so now I've made another color blend out of 3 of those. So this just gives me more, it gives me a little bit more versatility, and I can add in some of those areas that are like a little bit from this part of the photo, a little bit from this part, a little bit from this part. Hey, gotta leave. Hello from YouTube. So happy to see you. So in the end, I have these new color blends, and I'm just going to pull them out here. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, hold on, I was holding down my command key while I select these. So I'm just going to grab the color blends that I made, and then I'll just move them over here. And so what I'll do for my subscribers is I'll give you guys these color blends because I think they're quite cool, and they're quite, they have a very, very fun feeling. And what I love is I love that I was able to use them on, like, to accent the club image, you know, like to accent a graphic design, but then I could use them to draw this corals. And it was like so cool because all of these colors on the corals came from this photo, you know. So I love that, that sort of serendipity or whatever. And let me just check my comments. Okay, so we've got our new color blends. As soon as this video processes, I will make these color blends available to my Behance subscribers, so you'll have these color palettes. And so now what we're going to do, here's the side-by-side. So I'm just going to show you some quick ways that we can enhance the club layout here. So let me pull back some layers here. So what I've done, hang on one second, let me pull back all the layers. So I've created myself a little square sort of document. But one thing also that I will tell my followers that is just a little thing that I like to do is say that I want to create this in the final dimension of 1500 by 1500. So what I do is I make a document 17 by 1700 so that I have that little area on the side. But what that helps me with is that if I illustrate something and it's going off the side and then I want to move it, it's not cut off completely normally. Or also, one special thing is if I'm creating the wet paint mixer brushes and I'm pulling a stroke from the outside, sometimes if you pull it directly on the outside of the document, it'll pull in a weird green color. This is just a quirk of Photoshop. So that's why I create that document that size with the bleed, essentially. And what I do for my own little visual help is that I create like a new fill layer, and then I create a square in the center 1500 by 1500, and then I just like mask off the area that I'm going to see. So then I've got a nice little sort of thing to cover my bleed and just give me the idea of what it's going to look like final, so I don't get confused about the bleed on either side. So that's just a little something that I do, and I wanted to pop that in there while I could. So now what I'm going to do is I was going to show you is you can use these brushes, for example, to like use a clipping mask with some type, and we could, and it can like look really cool. So hold on just one second. So I've got a type layer here, and this is using, hold on. This is Hyperwave 3 font. I'm hoping this is one of Sam Parrott's, hoping this is one of the fonts by Sam Parrott. because I love his fonts. They're quite cool. He does a lot of like really cool brush scripts. Hey, Rhoda, super happy to see you. So what I'm going to do is, because I'm not like what do you call it? I'm not like a font sort of hand lettering expert, is I've created this a text layer, and now I'm going to use it as a clipping mask for my and fill it in with some of the brush strokes. So what I'll do is I'll just leave that layer like it is, the live text, and I'll make a new layer above it, and then I'll just command and click on that text layer. Oops. And so that I select that, and then I'm just going to put the layer, the mask, and that way I've got the text as the layer mask. Or you could just create a clipping mask. I have a friend of Anna. You're not supposed to bother my stream. They're so cute. My aunt's dog. So anyway, so now we can just draw on that layer, and I've already got my clipping mask, or I've already got my mask on. So I'm going to take the pattern stamp tool, and I'll grab one of my color palettes that I've made, and then we can just play around and take like, okay, hold on, one of the GlitchCore brushes. So I've got my pattern stamp tool, impression is checked, one of my color blends, and then just grab a GlitchCore brush and just start painting in here and see what kind of effects pop out. So it's really quite cool, and this is just a lot of, you know, you can just experiment. Just grab a brush, and what's great is that, you know, you get those cool gradients, you get those cool color blends, you get that sort of techno feel. You can play around with that, and you can't mess up because you've got the text as the guide. So this is a way that you can make some cool text. You can really accent your design, and, you know, play in with those brushes, and the brush strokes are doing everything, you know, so you can't mess up. This is kind of, I like this one is brush 35. Get those like glitches in there. I can hit my left bracket and increase my brush stroke. So you really get that sort of what do you call it, like glitchy vibe. And you can just play with it. You can add some more brush strokes over it, you know, just get really crazy here. So you can have fun with that. So hopefully that's all pretty easy peasy. Hold on just one second. I have to check my phone. Okay, so all right, so that's the fun with the text. So you can just like have fun with that, play with some of the brushes, get some of those color blends in. Cool. And that's, you know, part of the fun of the brushes. So, and then what you can do is, now maybe we've, you know, got the text in there, dance, whatever, and it's, what's cool is that it's exactly the same colors as on our image here, but now we could add some like, you know, brush strokes around the side, and then, you know, you can leave a space here and put some you know, text in or whatever. But I'm not going to worry exactly about the whole layout and everything, because that's one of the things that I love about the doing my doing the, what do you call it, tutorials, is I could just give you an idea, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on the details. So that's to my benefit. So this one is brush 34. So let's just see that in action here. So let's here, grab my brush 34. I can grab, let's see, when what's fun is I can grab like some different color palettes from the different areas. So like I could grab, this is my blue, you know, I had sampled the blue from that guy's face, so I could just grab that blue and, you know, add some cool accents like that. That looks really quite cool. I love it. Over here is like I had let's see, grab that mixer board, or you know what, maybe I'll take that place like from the neck. I had sampled from the neck, so this is actually that one that I had translated. So I could like go over this area, kind of go by the area that I sampled it from, and add some little accents, and, you know, just play with that. It's kind of fun. And maybe like another stroke here. And again, I'm not going to worry too much about the layout or whatever. You know, that's something you could sort out yourself. But we've got those colors that we just sampled directly from those photos, and now we can use it to accent our design with some cool brush strokes. So it doesn't have to be like strictly with illustration that you're using these brushes. So that was brush 34. This one is brush 37. So I just had grabbed like 37. I can leave it the same one, and you know, just add some little like strokes here. I'm not going to worry that it's perfect, but you could, you know, take your time, make a very cool layout composition. But I'm just showing you how fast and easy it is that you can like do some of this stuff. And or accent your designs. This is brush 48. This is a little bit of a wild one. And again, I'm not going to like worry that it's perfect, but just to give you guys some ideas. So, but this is one of the brushes. Let me make a new layer where I turned the direction control off purposefully. So when you move direction, you can get these really cool sort of effects, you know? And okay, that probably wouldn't be it for the final design, but just to give you a little preview here, like you go like this, and you can see how those kind of like strings, it's kind of like a spirograph sort of thing. Let me zoom in just a little bit so you can see the details, but you can just create some very funky cool brush strokes to accent your designs. So it's crazy because sometimes I can't like replicate there we go, like, so it just goes different each time. But I like when you do like a whole, oh, there we go, like a 180 and how those brush strokes connect. And I think it's quite fun. Hold on. Okay, so it's still, okay, making sure I didn't miss any messages. But you could play with that. You could accent the side of your design. That's a little much for right in the middle of the design, but you know, you can make some funky things. Okay, so that's 48. Here is brush 55. Let's just zoom in just a scotch here. So, you know, you can kind of get that vibe, sort of fast speed. What did I grab? Brush 58. So we just do something like this. Boom. You know, add a little accent. All right. And then I'm just going to do a few more brushes just to kind of play it out here. And let me know if I'm still streaming, if it's still okay. Hopefully it's not too glitchy. We're hoping. Okay, this one I used brush 66. And oh, this one was kind of fun because what I did, you can see I made like 3 different brush strokes, is I made a brush stroke near the, like I did on the first one. So I made a brush stroke using the colors that I had sampled from his neck. And then I used a brush stroke of this like area here. And so it really kind of ties in with the image and can give like a visual sort of effect. Oh, Abu, okay, I'm still doing okay. Okay, great. Okay, so let's do this brush 66. And brush 66, this one's fun. Okay, so let's just take a little tour of that brush. This one is very fun. I'm going to zoom in so you can see. But we can see all those cool things happening in the brush stroke. There's, oh, and when you change direction, I really love that. Like, well, I swear whenever I try to do it, it doesn't do it. These brushes, the glitch is real, so it's always different. It's always crazy. But this is the brush stroke, so it's 66. Yeah. And okay, so I'm going to, okay, Linda, no glitching for a while. Perfect. We are fingers crossing it. I hate that because you can't do anything about the internet. Okay, so now I want to I want to get some of where I sampled from the neck or the blue of his head. Let's grab, what did I grab? Now I moved those color palettes and now I can't actually see exactly which one I did. Okay, wait, no, I can. Let's get the blue of the head. I think it's this one here. Okay, so I want to kind of put it near this area. So I'm going to draw a brush. Not like that. Not like that. I'll draw a brush stroke like this. So there we go. We've got some of the blue from that neck area that we sampled. And by painting it over there, it looks really cool and it adds some fun effects, but it ties in with that background. So that's good. And then let's look down here. Okay. Now let's take some of that lovely pink and purple. I think this is the photo palette that I had sampled, and then this was the final one. So we could add a little bit of a stroke around here. And look how that like just ties in with that. I'm going to just zoom in a little bit. How it ties in with that area. Like here it almost looks like it's, going with that. Like I just love that. Maybe I'll just do like, I don't know. But every time it's different. So, it might not always look exactly perfect, but that's looking, I just undid it. Hold on. Okay. Oh, and here we go. Me not following my own advice. We always want to work like each brush stroke on their own layer. So we don't want to, we want to work as non-destructively as possible. So let me make a new layer and then take that same brush stroke and just make something like that, or, you could play with it. I think I'll just go like that. I like seeing I like that interplay that was happening here, but I'm not going to worry that it's quite perfect, but good enough. And it really, adds that kind of dimensionality. Oh, I know what I did too, is what I did before was I created a layer mask and kind of masked out some of those brush strokes. So that's why I was not like loving it 100%. So let me maybe I'll redo that and kind of go like that. So that's cool. We kind of play in with those colors that's, right next to the photo. So I think it's okay. So let me make one more brush stroke and then I'll merge those. So like, what did I do? Okay. And then let me make one more layer and just take one of those final color palettes that I made with like lots of colors mixing, and then maybe increase my brush size a little bit and kind of make a cool wiggling brush stroke, whatever. So this, okay, like compositionally, maybe it's not the best, but whatever. We get the idea. And I can just like select all those brush strokes. I can group them and then merge the group, or I can just actually leave them like that. That's probably better. More non-destructively. So on that group, then I could just click the mask. And now what I can do is I could grab my gradient tool, grab the radial one. I've got it on foreground to transparent. And then now I could just use my radial gradient tool to like kind of hide some of those brush strokes, add a little transparency. But now we kind of, have the idea and we could play with that some more. But just to give you guys some kind of ideas of how you can use it to, with photo collage, on a graphic design, do those kind of things. And this one, I just played around with brush 72. So it's the same kind of thing. I kind of used, let's see here, let me grab brush 72. So I had just, played around with putting it over the area that I had sampled from, but this is quite a cool, funky brush. And of course, every which way you do it, okay, when am I going to learn my lesson? Not to put on the same layer. Okay, make a new layer. So every time you make the brush stroke, it's going to do a different effect. and you can make those really cool techno effects and accent your designs. Okay, Maurelius, glad you like that. Okay, thank you for the comment. Okay, good. And then the last one before we get into the next second part is the illustration was I used brush 76, and this one I thought was really fun. So look at how I made those brush strokes over it, and how I like and how those colors played with that image that I sampled it from. So that was really fun, and that one's full of motion, and so I like that a lot. So I'm just gonna kind of do that again. So I'm gonna use brush 76. Okay, and make sure that here, pattern stamp tool, impression is checked, brush 76, and let's grab like, okay, I'll use that blue, that dark blue kind of in the neck area. So we kind of got some of that feeling. That's quite cool. Let me just, you can see this brush here. It's very fun, very techy. So I could just make some brush strokes like here, kind of play off that. That's fun. I like it. And then let's see the big picture here. Let's get some of that purple, that red and purple, kind of play like that. That's fun. I like that. Okay. So you see how those colors are playing off the image, and we're getting that kind of sense of motion and excitement with those brush strokes. So that's fun. And then, you know, you could just go to town. This is some of that area that I selected here. So we've got a lot of blacks, reds, you know, kind of funky. So let me just, I can just play with some of that brush stroke. That's kind of fun. Something like that. So, you know, you can just play around, see what looks good, blah, blah, blah. I won't worry about making it perfect. And, you know, do something. This brush is fun. Look at this one, has like the direction control, but you get all of those quite fun colors in play, and very techno-y. So I think that this could be very useful if you do like, you know, even if you're doing graphic design, so you can, you know, accent your designs or whatever. So that's that part of the design. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to take the same GlitchCore brushes and the same color palettes, and now we're making something totally different, you know, 100% completely different, but it's cool. And this could be something that you turn into a pattern motif or a repeating pattern, or you could use it to illustrate like a children's book, or you could you know, sell your illustration as stock art. So let me just pull back the layers here and just show you how I created this one. So let me just I'm gonna hide some of my layers that I didn't use so they're not confusing me. All right, so let's pull back the layers and show you how I created this. Here was the kind of the base of my illustration. All right, we are going to turn off some of this stuff here. Okay, so what I did, and did I have a, okay, put a color overlay. So what I did was I used one of my previous brushes that I had already made. So this is from my Under the Sea collection of brushes, which I have all these like coral shapes. I have some stamp brushes. I've got some seaweed sort of repeating brushes. And so of course I'm, you know, wanting to like work as little as possible, you know, and make things as easy as possible as myself. So I think I grabbed Sea Stamp Brush 3, and I'm just going to make a new layer here, and let me grab like white just so we can see the brush stroke. And what I'm going to do is, this is a bit small, so I'm just going to increase the size of the brush stroke. And let me see. So I'll just make a stamp. So I'm going to make a stamp like, okay, like you see here. So I've stamped this layer, and I want to use this as my guide. But I don't want to see it so, I don't want to like see it so bright. So what I'm going to do to that layer is I just, I have some styles here. So let me just, let me hide this over here. Okay, so I always have some styles on hand. So like I just created a light gray overlay. And so I just applied that style, and then, or I don't even have to do that, honestly. I could just take the opacity down. So I'll just do that, take the opacity down. And there we've got our like template. So I'm just going to start with the one that I had here. And sometimes if I stamp it, you know, the stamp brushes is like different each way. So I'll just use my Command T to transform it. And I will make sure that it's going straight up. So that's, you know, like, because that's what I want my, you know, compositionally to go from. So there we go. That's kind of my guide. Okay, so now what I did was I used some of the brushes and I created the base of it. And these brushes, let me find which ones I did because I did not mark them down. Hold on. So they were some of the ones, yeah, right up here. These ones, we're going to be able to see them well. So I think I used brush 18, brush 9, I think mainly 18 and 19, maybe brush 21 too. These ones are kind of contained brushes, and I think that they lend themselves really well to this. So let's just show that in action. Okay, so I am going to turn that off. Oh yeah, and as you can see, it kind of looks like it might be all the same brush, but I actually did a few different brush strokes to create this main shape. So I'm going to get my pattern stamp tool, grab this color blend. I don't know if it's this one, or if, let me see if it's the brighter one, because maybe it's the brighter one. I want to make sure. Yeah, I think it's this one. So, and I'll have these available to the subscribers, so you don't have to like create your own color blends, you know, so you can use these directly without having to like do that yourself. So just a little something more fun. So which brushes did I use? It was, okay, 18, 19, 21. Okay, so let's go back. Let's get, let's look at them really quick. Okay, so this is 18. I think I used maybe the lighter one. Yeah, lighter one. So this is brush 18. It's quite cool. I love all the color play inside there. There's brush 19, a little more stronger, a little more edgier, and we could use that too. 20, and then 21. I don't think I used that. I think maybe I just used 19 and 20. Let me just look at a couple other brushes though while that could work. 16. Oh, 17 is a good one. Maybe 17, 18, and 19. Okay, let me just check, make sure I don't have any messages. Okay. All right, so we're liking mainly 18 and 19, but whatever. So I'm going to take my brush size down. So I'm using my left brackets, and until I get it kind of a size that I want, or right brackets to increase it. Okay. So let's just hang on one second, okay? So I'll just go like this and kind of follow some of these. And I'm not going to do the whole thing with this one, but okay, so that's good. So we've got brush 18 in play. We can make a new brush 19, but we need to decrease the size. So that's looking pretty good. So let's do brush 19. Kind of put some of that in play there. And so it's like a subtle difference, but you know, it's good to kind of mix them up. So there's brush 19, and even we could change the color palette. So I could take like, that's a good idea. Maybe I'll do this one in the darker color palette so we get even a little bit more differentiation. So there's just like a little bit funner. So put that there, put that there, put that there. That's 19. I like that. It's kind of fun. And then I'll make a new layer, and maybe I'll use brush 17. That's nice. So, but I'm going to use that with the original palette, and then I will take that brush size down. Let's wait till it kind of get it a nice size we like. Perfect. And so now let's use that for, you know what, I'm gonna connect those like that. So let's use it for that. Let's use it for that branch, and let's use it for that branch. Okay, cool. So, okay. Hey, Mohammed, glad to see you. So there we've got the main part of our image. Okay, our coral. Let's zoom out. And of course, this took no drawing ability, no special drawing ability. So we're all about that, because most of my stuff is I want my tutorials to be accessible to anybody. So you don't need any special drawing ability, because honestly, like, I don't really necessarily have any special drawing ability. So so let's make a new layer. And what did I use? I used, I believe, brush number 1. So we added some of these little sort of shapes here, and I think I put one of them underneath it, so like this. So let's recreate that. So let's turn that off. I've got a new layer, and I'm gonna grab my brush number 1 from this collection, and oops, we want to make sure that it's selected using the pattern stamp tool. My bad. Let's grab this color palette here, the brighter one, and then let's grab brush number 1. We want to make sure impressionist is checked, align is not. And so now I can, I'm using a light pressure. That's the key here on this brush stroke. Light pressure, and kind of just add some sort of, just barely touching it. So let's go like that. And if you don't like the color that kind of comes out, then you can just undo it and paint it again. So we kind of got that sort of abstract sort of, you know, feeling, and I created, like, even you can create some above the layer of the coral, and then, you know, maybe add some that are a little bit behind it, so you can kind of play with that depth, you know. So that's nice. Add some of those little things. So we've got a good start. Easy peasy. Okay, so what else did we want to add? Okay, we've already added those. So now we're going to do the background. And I think on the background, the first thing that I did was these sort of, I wanted to kind of create like a ocean wave sort of motif in the background. Oh, David, if you had a line checked on these brushes, maybe not that much would happen, but the aligned is like, it will, you know, use the pattern that's inside the brush, but it will always, like, say if you have like a gradient from this color to this color, it's always going to keep that in relation to each other, you know. Basically it's just more aligned, so you're more likely to get some blocks of color, basically, and so it's not as color blending. So to answer your question, David, yeah, so most of the time when we're using the color blending method, the pattern stamp technique, we always have aligned unchecked. The only other time that we're, you know, normally having a line checked is like that Instapressionist brushes, when we want it to line up to that photo that we used as the pattern guide. So that is, but you know, you can just play with it, you know, turn it on and off, but you will kind of see, especially like, say for example, if you're using a area sampled from an image, you'll see that it, you know, holds that pattern there. So okay, so this one was brush 45, and you know, we want to have that contrast, so we don't want it to be, I used brush 45 and I used a blue color palette, but this is like the lessons of contrast, you know. If I left that at full opacity, we have no contrast in our design, so it would not look so good. So I took that opacity way down, and now we have that depth and that that contrast that adds depth and, you know, depth to the illustration and contrast to our layout. So let me show you how I did that. So I made a new layer, and I grabbed brush 45. Hang on one second. There we go. And now for this one, for the sea, I'm going to use the blue, the dark blue palette that I had sampled from his face right here, as you can see. And wait, is this brush 45? I don't think so. Maybe it is. Hold on one second. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. Oh no, I think it's like the brush. Let me see what brush it is. It's not 45. I think it's this brush. Yeah. I'll just use this brush because it's easier, whatever brush that is. Hold on. Since I just made these brushes, I still don't have them all in my head by heart, and I made so dang many that it's like hard to even keep track of them all. Okay, 74, 76 looks like one that I can use. So let's go back here. I don't like when I misname my brushes. Hello, rude. Okay, 74. Let's see. That one's pretty okay, or 76. This is good. So we got the sea vibe there. Okay, so what did I do? I just created some like sort of spiral shapes. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but we can just kind of play with that. Okay, good. So now we've got our sea. Let me just hide this a little bit. Okay. Let's see here. Hi, Micah. I think that might be some spam. Okay. So I've got the sea waves in the background using the GlitchCore brushes. And then now I just want to take that opacity down to like 27, something like that is kind of nice. And that way we've got that nice depth. We still got it in the same color palette. So we're happy with that. And what else did I do? Okay, so then I thought it would be fun to accent my design with some of these eye brushes from the, what is it, Under the Sea. So I thought I'd just add some of those. So I'm adding this underneath that main coral layer. And these are actually just kind of like one color brushes. So this is 19B. So let me just make a new layer. I'm going to grab my regular brush tool. I'm going to go up to brush 19B. And let's select a color directly from the main coral image. And so now I can create that sort of coral accent or seaweed or whatever. So I'll just add a few like of those coming out, and let me just, I'll put them in like 3 different colors so it kind of spices it up. So I'm going to option click with my brush selected so that I can grab that eyedropper tool. And let's just add one there. And then I can option, let's see, what do I want? Like a pink, maybe a brighter pink, like from there. And just kind of put it somewhere kind of in the background. So I don't know. There we go. Whatever. I don't know if this looks better or worse than my original one, but let's see here. Where did it go? Yeah, just added a few accents, like just spice it up. But that's why I think it's kind of fun to add, use some of those. Those are kind of like more pattern, motif brushes. They're not exactly brushstroke brushes, but they can come in handy. Like for example, like for this one. But let's just maybe add one more over here to add a little balance. Good enough, close enough. I'm not going to worry that it's perfect as my sample. And those are just one color brushes. And actually, I think I have a tiny bit of jitter built into that brush or whatever. So that's that. And then I wanted to add a little accents on the side. So the first thing that I did was I grabbed brush 21 from that collection. And I just, and I grabbed this, oh, you know what? Grab this blue. So let's just recreate this here. So I had, like sampled from here, but let's just say I sampled, there's a blue. Okay, so, and ooh, what opacity we were at, I don't know. Anyway, so let's grab brush 21 from that collection. And you can make your own brush, but I'm going to make it bigger here. So I'm using this as a I'm going to use this as like a mask, you know, so just add a little brush stroke, add a little brush stroke. So now we've got a little bit on the side, and now we're going to, I'm going to make a new layer, and then I'm going to option and hover and make that a clipping mask layer. And so now I'm just going to grab, look here, which color palette did I use? Maybe the purple one. Okay, so just grab a different color palette. I can grab this darker purple, or let's just grab this one for now. And now I'm not going to really worry too much. I'm just going to randomly grab one of my color blending brushes, and let's take this and just play around with that. And I'm not going to worry too much like which one it is, but you know, you can just play and have fun. So this is kind of the fun part of it. So you can just grab some different brushes and use that other brush shape as a clipping mask, and now we've got that, those like all the colors blending and quite cool and techy and funky and glitchy. So it kind of goes in with the whole vibe of that collection. And then this is a bit too much, so we'll want to take that, so we'll take the base layer that I created with that seaweed brush and take my base layer and take that opacity down a little bit. So that's good. And so let's just kind of leave that there for now, and let's see what else that I did. Oh yeah, and then I had some little, I just added some little accents. So this is going to be the last step. So let me make a new layer. Let me look at how I kind of did this here. Did I put it over it or under it? I really need to save my, I think I put it over it. Okay. So hang on one second. Okay. So now let's just make a new layer above those seaweeds on the side. And I should have, I think I wrote the brush down though. Layer, no, not this one. Oh, this was brush 66. Okay, we're happy with this. All right, so we've got a new layer. Let us grab brush 66. This one's nice. And we'll just stick on, let's grab this color palette. And I just added some accents, like, let's see what I did actually. Hold on. Okay, so I just added a little bit of funky, maybe I added it below it, but you know what, let me just leave it below because I don't want it to get, let's see here. Yeah, so let me take my brush size down. This is brush 66. And I just kind of, yeah, made some strokes like this, kind of played around, made some accents. Let's see here, I don't know if I made like some kind of circular motion, but just played around like that. So this is, let's see here, this is kind of how that's how it was. Let's see here, make a new layer. Yeah. Okay, so I just stroked like this, added these around. Sometimes I played with like just barely touching it, kind of going. I think what I did is I used a light pressure, and that's why I didn't have such the wide brush stroke. It was just like a little touch of it, kind of like that, which kind of looks cool, almost like a sea flower, or you know, some of those sea lives can kind of look like that, but obviously it's like very abstracted. Okay, so let me just double check. So I think that was like all of the layers that I had used to create that design. Hold on, let me just file, save as. It's funny because let's make the sea coral 2. Perfect. Every time that I do like the demos and stuff, I swear it's like, when I do it myself, whenever I'm not, you know, preparing for a demo, it's like what I said last time, like what you order on Wish or something, or Shein or one of those things, and then what arrives. So that was the original design that I made. And then, hold on. This, so that's, you know, that'd be the same. Sea coral 2. So That one actually turned out nicer. We're liking how like you can do a lot of different things with these brushes. You know, we went from the original photo sampling colors from this, and then we accented like the club flyer, you know, with some sort of techie brushes, but then we can do something totally 100% different and create like an illustration, you know, and something totally more on the, you know, this could be like some kind of illustration for a children's book, or turn this into a seamless pattern, something fun like that. So if you have any other class questions, let me know before I get off. But I'm so happy that like a lot of you guys tuned in, and hopefully it wasn't too glitchy today. Um, at least when I'm looking at it on my iPad, it's a bit glitchy. Very helpful. I'm from Bangladesh. Glad you liked it. Shoot me a little text. I'm just gonna see if anyone else has any questions before I log off, and then I'll still be doing more samples with the GlitchCore brushes. And if there's something that you guys have a question about, let me know. Diane, you are okay. I'm glad. Thank you so much. Sometimes I'm like not so sure if sometimes the live streams are helpful, but I'm trying to also like pre-plan them a bit too, so that I make sure that I keep everything going and it's not, you know, dragging on for a million years. But I think sometimes with the live streams, there can be little things that people pick up that are a bit more helpful, you know, so you can kind of see things as I'm doing them. And maybe if I'm just pre-recording a tutorial, you wouldn't like catch some of the little tips or tricks or, you know, whatever. But so glad that you logged in, and I am going to log off, and I will probably I will be streaming again tomorrow. And if you're a member or something like that and you have a particular time that's better, let me know. But perhaps in the morning, 10:30, I'm not sure. But I'm going to start posting my stream times on my website, so stay tuned of that, and so I don't spam my newsletter too much. So all right, well, thanks guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that, and make sure you're following me on Behance, because I'll be sharing like work in progresses on my status. And also these color palettes that I've already made and fixed up and everything will be available to my subscribers. And as soon as the stream processes, then I will upload this for you.